from my contribution, my critical contribution to this anthology.
Louder than that one.
Okay. Louder than that.
The young hate him.
I have to say this, the fact that this book exists is sort of exciting in a way that I actually can't even talk about it coherently at all. There's something so bizarre and absolutely irreal about having your own work in a book that looks like this, a book with this kind of work in it. It's just like, there's all these moments in one's life when certain curtains, say, are drawn back. This is something else. I don't think I'll ever actually quite believe that this thing exists, or that I'm part of it. I think as I become old and senile, if I become really senile, perhaps one of the things that I'll be asking my caretakers to do is to show me this book. So that really happened, right? Just read that. That happened, right? That exists. Because I practically want to ask people to do that now. If someone could time me, I'm just going to read for 7 minutes or whatever. I haven't read this out loud. I haven't read this out loud before. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read for about 7 minutes, and then. Okay, he's got me. He's gonna. I've got a little chip in my ear here. He's gonna phone me when I read 7 minutes. Okay, so this is from a long poetics poem, like a book-length sort of project that I've been working on for quite a few years now. Started it in 2006. I'm letting it come together very slowly because I actually. The real projects I'm really trying to lay down, I think that the base of my poetics, of possibly my entire, to use an absurd term, philosophy, my whole sense of theory, in really packeted form. So it's quite a dense text because each section represents possibly sometimes years of thinking. And so in some cases, what I've done with one little paragraph in this piece is packeted some thinking that elsewhere I've written actually a 50-page essay deals with, but this is kind of the packeted form. This is the kind of smuggling form, the form that you can take across borders and etc. And it's getting towards completion, but this is the part that deals with materiality and pertains to concrete poetry, I think. And eventually, this might be a sort of more coherent, regular sort of readable linear essay or something like that. But in this form, it's as much a poem as it is an essay. The Young Hate Us, Part 1. Can poetry be matter? Riffing on that fatuous question, can poetry matter? Briefer history of the page. White space of the page is mimetic, abstract, or temporal. Pages vary easily under text, if there's a lot of it. Prose as the means of textual reification. Prose means textual reification. We've been contemporaries for 140 years, and you don't even know my name, or a brief history of the contemporary page. What I mean is history of the activated page, poetry not as something on it, but significantly about it. When the blank space signifies the page is activated. The page poet is now your white bedding an arena. Mallarmé activates the blanks, creates the page as an arena for action. The typewriter creates the page as a grid, which creates the page as of much concrete poetry, the page par excellence. Olson takes the gridded typewriter page as a notational base for the page as vocal mental score. Post-Olson non-Europoetics then make the blank of the page again as silence infringible upon by the vicious surreal which poets are no longer trying to keep out of the poem. The non-poetic noise of the social, the environment, the crowd in or the crowd out, and become indistinguishable from the poetic. Much in the way that, say, prose created the fogs of London. What one does then when one is drawing one's poetry is that one engages the problem of capital A art, not the problem of one's art, as far as one can, through a process of diagnostic attrition, especially agnostic. Not the production biography of, what if I were to write addresses oneself to the problem not of one's art, but of one art. Electrical feedback loops and the short circuits provide spectacle information. In perfectly synonymous terms, recursive questioning or negative iteration. The problem for poets now is that they can do anything they want to do. The principle of plenitude, the crisis of plenitude. Writer's block? No, writer's overstock. Recursive questioning or negative iteration are feedback loops consuming the feedback as they turn. Block out a sequence of refusals, negate, eliminate, determine what the work will not do, maneuver it towards its final form. Proposing the iron rigors of great poetry as afternoon days at the Rocky Balboa Masterpiece Gym, chewable steroids and shrunken sack and horny Porsche, the tough and rumble bottom line economics of great art. Bad poetry versus good poetry in a time when most marks are given for quaff, when armpit deodorant is an obligation, when dinosaurs walk the earth, when accountants control and run universal edification factories, when clean copy is mistaken for good writing, and a certain lack of tightness looks stylish. Poets as sale managers. Do it well enough, and you'll get to work in the New York office. Do it perfectly, 20 years later, there might be some vending machines that you can restock in East St. Louis. Visual poets. I think we should all produce work with the urgency of outsider artists, panting and jerking off to our own kinky private obsessions. That's a quote from Dodie Bell. Crowd equals numbers and statistics. Community equals real human relations. My title, who addresses the crowd speaks to no community. Don't mind if I. Capitalism begins when you open the dictionary. Meaning is commerce, they say. Meaning is always on sale. Meaning is our product. We mean. We are full of it. We are words. Meaning is our business. Business is slow. We mean it. Yes, poets trade in meaning and affect as painters trade in objects. A trades grammar. Painters' products are referred to using the countable. A. Yes, that's a real signac. Certainly that looks like a mother wall. A web. Product of poets is an uncountable significance, an effusion, a pus, a cream cheese, a foie gras from the poet's metrically disciplined guts. The poet is, by a numeric grammar, a pacemaker. Production line, intestinal poets. Pasta, knowledge, milk, cheese, garbage, news, research. What are the issues? What are your issues? All the issues. Every question ever asked by any poet, good, bad, forgotten, foolish, fish, fresh, French, yellow, or rotten. It gives color to cold cheek. Every issue is a tissue, meaning tissue. Oh, you mean palimpsest you. It might be even simpler after all. Poetry might just be language, which is, according to some, vocabulary plus a set of rules to run it through, which equals language, which equals poetry, which makes them indistinguishable and makes. I'm at 7, okay? That's 7.